Hi, welcome to my channel. I just got back the other day from the military match, and I told you guys I'd have an update and get some footage from the match, and I did do that for you. A couple of things before we go right into it is everything didn't work out exactly the way I had planned, of course. The adapter I had for my spotting scope didn't work exactly the way I thought it would work. You'll see that. I did have the spotting scope set up on the bench I was shooting from because you usually have people right to the left of you, so you can't really set it up anywhere else. And every time I shot, of course, the camera would jiggle, and it made it a little hard seeing the hits that didn't put the animals down. And one of the downfalls of shooting the 223 in a match like this is just the brute force to knock some of these animals down. I mean, the pigs, they're 30, 40 pounds. You got the turkeys, they're substantial weight in the 30, 40 pound range. And then you go out to the rams where they're 50 and as high as 55, 60 pounds. And, they're very, very hard for a small caliber, like a 22 caliber, even at 75 grains to knock them down. We did manage to knock down one, but I'll show you the footage and then we'll go from there. So just to start out, this is the range. See the guys walking around here, and everybody's kind of been sighted in, and we're getting ready to shoot. And then after this, it's just a kind of a pan of the clubhouse and the pavilion and the facilities that they have, outdoor restrooms and that and the like. And then we're going to move right into shooting the chickens first. My friend Steve is spotting for me, and we're going to get sighted in. And we took our first shot, first chicken, and we went high. He did tell me, "Hey, you went high on that." So I adjusted again, and then we shot the second one, and it went down. The third one, it went down. The fourth one. And of course, it went down, and then the fifth one, it went down also. So there really isn't much more to see. We did the other bank, and it was the same result. I missed the first one, probably just getting a little zealous, and I hit the remaining four. So it made a score of 8. I was happy with that. This is I haven't shot at the range for a year, and this is a new rifle to me. I was just kind of getting acquainted with it when I had it out at the 100-yard range, and I was shooting at the smaller chickens at the 100 yards, so it was kind of getting me a little bit geared up. But there's some trigger control, and then there's the pressure of just being at a competition. I'd like to show you the pig, the pig footage, but unfortunately, there was an error in cameraman work, which I'm the cameraman, so I forgot to record any of the pig stuff, but we did manage to pull 4 out of 5 of the pigs on both banks. So we got 8 of those, so we were pretty happy with that. We'll go to the turkeys. This is where it starts to get a little bit more difficult. When you go into the turkeys, you're looking at an odd size animal, and it's kind of hard to put your post at a 6 o'clock hold on a turkey because just the way it's shaped. It's hard to explain. You'd have to kind of do it. But even at that, I think I shot over or under the first bird. I did get the next 2. I think the wind got the better of me. It was blowing, and the wind was blowing. It was. I'm pretty sure left to right. I was shooting off the front of the turkey, so even trying to adjust with open iron sights. I'll show you when we get up to the rams just what you have to do to adjust open iron sights at those distances. Remember, this isn't a scope. You don't see the full picture. What you see out there is minuscule through iron sights like this. The post literally covers the entire animal up, so there's a little practice that goes involved in this. And when I was shooting off of the bench, but I wasn't shooting a mechanical rest, which means I was shooting a practical position, which would mean my hand was laying on a bag and the rifle was in my hand. So this would be a practical way you would shoot, like out in the woods, where you would maybe put your hand on a branch or on something else to put. So this is a practical shoot for you. There are guys that shoot the heavy bench rest style rests. They're adjustable. The problem you have with this practical way of shooting is you can cant the rifle right or left, and that's going to cause an error at those distances. Not so much at the chickens and pigs, because you're looking at 220 and 300 yards. But the further out you go, little tiny movements make a big difference. So let's go out to the rams and we'll take a look at that. Now, out here at the rams, you can see that everything's a little bit more wiggly. So we're going to shoot at the first one, and we're going to miss it, and we're going to hit the second one, and I'm going to hit it low in the front leg. Now there's going to be a little red dot that shows up on your screen where I hit it, and then on the third animal, you're going to see that there's going to be a position change in the camera, and that's due to wind, and it's also due to the recoil of the gun on the bench. And you're going to see that the same dot appear on that animal, and that's where I hit the animal. It was a little bit higher into the brisket area. Wasn't enough to twist him off. You're not going to see him wobble. He's just way out there. And then the third, you could see where the wind was starting to drift me, and I didn't adjust enough to offset that. And on the fourth and fifth animal, I went wide. I did not record the second bank because it didn't push the camera over, but we managed, out of the 10, we managed to hit 5. We only knocked over 1. So, a 50% score with open iron sights, shooting in a practical rest is not bad. For me, my eyes are old. I'm in my 60s, and I don't have good eyesight to begin with, so I wear glasses. And the problem with that is what you're doing is you're magnifying the target with your glasses, but you're blurring out your front sight, and you can't blur out your front sight. It is paramount that you focus on the front post. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about sight picture and what you're seeing out, and I'm just going to use the 550 yards that I was shooting and just try to explain to you just how little movement can make a big difference, especially when you're using iron sights. So how the iron sight works at that range, and how you would adjust the elevation for, I don't want to explain this, make it in a way you can understand. A 32nd of an inch on your front sight at 550 yards is the difference between a 32nd and 20 inches of target. In other words, if your front post is a 32nd of an inch, which is about the thickness of a credit card, away from the 6 o'clock position on your target, you will miss your point of aim by 20 inches. And I'm going to give you the formula, so in case you're interested, this is a kind of a nifty thing. So let's just say that you're shooting 20 inches low, and you estimate you're shooting 20 inches low at 550 yards or 500 yards. We'll use a round out number so it's a little bit easier to figure it out. Excuse me. So 20 inches is how much you want to move your impact at 500 yards. So the distance 500 yards, you would convert that into inches. And you would take 500 times 36, which is 36 inches in a yard. You would get 18,000 inches. That's how many inches there are to the 500-yard target. Then you would multiply the sight radius, and that would be the difference between the rear sight and the front sight. Let's just say it's 25 inches for the sake of argument. I don't know exactly what this is, but let's just say it's 25 inches. And then from that, you would multiply the sight radius times the point of impact change. So if you're the distance between your rear sight and your front sight is 25 inches, and you want to come up 20 inches, okay, you would multiply those two, and you would come up with a number, which would be 500. And then you would divide 500 by the 18,000 inches in the distance. And then that division would equal 0.028, or which would be around a 32nd of an inch. So 0.28 at the 20 inches. For the minute adjustment, you would go 4 clicks, which would take you up 20 inches. But just so that you understand, the differences are minute at that range when you're shooting at 500 yards. So I hope you kind of understand how that works. So moving your sight up about a 32nd of an inch has a giant impact on what you're going to hit at 500 yards. And if you look at a 64th of an inch, or you go up to a 16th of an inch, which isn't much anyway, then you're really, a 16th of an inch, you're going to miss the entire thing. So it's not much. There's not much forgiveness on open iron sights, and that's just, that's what it is. I mean, it's pulling off the target and not having follow through when open iron sights at that distance. It's just, you're not going to hit anything. You just got to keep your concentration on that front sight. Keep it level and as close to that belly as you can without seeing much daylight and not being too much into the black, and you should hit it. I was able to do it 50% of the time, which I thought, that's pretty good. That's what it was. I think I ended up with about 50%, 21 or 22 targets out of 40, which isn't too bad considering that, I did hit 5 or 6 rams, but only one of them went down. So those hits don't count, or, I'd have been up around 26, but that's okay. I mean, this was a learning experience. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to try a different load, and I'm going to show you here the bullets that I used. The bigger bullet is a 75 grain V-Max from Hornady. The second bullet is a soft point flat base bullet. And the third bullet, the small one there, is a 55 grain, just a full metal jacket, boat tail. You could see, they're very accurate. I mean, you could see the chickens go down one right after. But the closer targets are a lot easier open sights. And the further you go out, just the smallest amount of adjustment in your sight or movement when you're shooting is going to cause you to miss. I mean, that's what it is. That's why it's a challenge to go out there with military rifles and shoot these things. And if you really want a real challenge, some of the guys shoot this stuff offhand and they hit. So I mean, that's another story. But that's just a whole different level of execution that I am just not. I mean, I've done offhand shooting with iron sights, and I've done offhand shooting with scopes, and none of it's easy, but I've hit enough animals offhand to know how difficult it is. Let's just put it that way. So it's it's a very you have to be very concentrated on what you're doing in order to make this happen. Believe me, it's just not an easy feat. It is what it is. So that was the videos. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to get back with Steve here next week. We're going to go up, maybe do some filming at the range and let you watch him shoot some of these animals offhand at these distances. I talked to him on the phone the other day, and you can't really do much filming during a competition because, I mean, I can do it for myself, but these guys don't want cameras. There's enough pressure on you to shoot in competition without somebody standing with a camera on you. So I get it, and I'm never going to do that. It's just they don't want that. But I put it on myself, and it doesn't bother me, to shoot on camera. I ain't gonna shoot any worse or any better. It's just the way it is. It don't bother me. But so I appreciate you tuning into my video. We'll get back at this again sometime this summer. We'll show you, how the how it's done offhand and with bolt action rifles and scopes and everything else. So the next matchup is going to be a lever action match. Not too sure I can make it to that one. I have to talk to my wife. There are some things going on. And then after that, we got the cast bullet match, which I will be going to. That's in June. And we're going to be doing some footage on that too. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching my video, and I will see you again.